Hello there, and welcome to this week's edition of Creative Critique. Now, the theatrically released film that I went to see this week was Kung Fu Panda 3, and therefore I have deemed this week's edition a Jack Black special. Although obviously we're not seeing Jack Black on screen, we, at my word, are we feeling his presence in his voiceover work in the Kung Fu Panda series. So, let's just go straight into Kung Fu Panda 3. And I will say I'm extremely pleased to say I'm pleased to report that everything is wonderful. I'll give you a quick synopsis of this film's plot. We start the film in the Chinese spirit world, where we re-meet Master Oogway, who obviously is spoiler alert, has died in one of the previous Kung Fu Panda films. But he is living a peaceful life in the spirit world. Until a character called Kai, who is another spirit in this world, who is going through this world and actually taking everyone's chi. Therefore taking their chi. He does battle with Master Oogway in a kind of almost Gandalf and Balrog sort of epic battle. And before Oogway effectively allows him to take his chi, he warns him that he will not succeed and that the Dragon Warrior will defeat him. Kai goes into the mortal world and goes upon his business about taking every Kung Fu master's chi and therefore going to eventually meet Po, our Kung Fu Panda. So that is your plot of the film. That is your advocacy of the film. And what is the film? What is the tone of the film? Because we've had different sort of tones for different films, haven't we? In this one, he's effectively becoming a teacher. And so he has obviously he has gone through the training process, learned how to use his skills in the second film, and is now going to be passing on his skills and what he's learned to other students of his. Effectively, Dustin Hoffman's character Shifu passes on the role of teacher, and it doesn't start very well for him. But as the film goes on, he manages to utilise what he has learned in his own special way in order to make others succeed in their own way. And that's a terrible description. Sorry, but while this is going on, there's some family trouble going on, and when I say family trouble, it depends what you mean by trouble, I suppose. Because obviously, if you've seen Kung Fu Panda 2, you know what happened at the beginning of that film, where we go far off into a faraway land, and we see a land or a village of pandas high in the mountains. This is then brought to fruit in this film, where Po's father, comes to seek him because it's like a message from the universe was sent to him. And they meet up, and poor, I forgot his name. I've got his duck father. Oh my word, the emotion going on there is extremely well played between the two fathers, and it's him about sort of learning to work with both. Sorry, I'm going off a complete spin off here. I'm losing my thread. Apologies. Now, I'm just going to cut off there and I'll come back to the whole father thing, because I just messed that up completely. But what I think this film does extremely well is it continues the humour of the previous films. It's written again by the same people who are, let me just check, Jonathan Abel and Glenn Berger, which is surprising considering some of their... I'm surprised because I really do love the Kung Fu Panda films, and having a look at some of their other screenwriting credentials, when on their list of credentials, or filmography should I say, they have got 2 Alvin and the Chipmunks films. That makes you go, what? These are the guys that have come up with the Kung Fu Panda films? And made me laugh so hard and make me feel things in the second film particularly. So, that's a bizarre one, isn't it? They've got talents clearly, and they've completely put them into Kung Fu Panda and not Alvin and the Chipmunks. They previously also apparently wrote Monsters vs. Aliens, which had some good ideas and some decent things going on, but wasn't quite fulfilled as a film. But that's interesting. It's a returning director again in Jennifer Yu Nelson, who directed the second film, which I think I'm going to say, in terms of all three films, Kung Fu Panda 2 is my favourite. And the reason completely why is there's numerous things going on with Kung Fu Panda 2. I will very quickly go because I'm not really reviewing this in this edition. But the level of emotion involved in Kung Fu Panda 2 was incredible. In particular scenes I played to refresh your memory in this film, and they still pack the punch, I can tell you that, because the scenes that they do show of, that scene, where we learn about, it's still as effective as it was when I saw it in the cinema 5 years ago, and still from repeated DVD viewings. Some emotional things are on show again here, regarding obviously the reconnection with his father, and the actual emotion involved with handling the fact that he has two fathers. And one of the best emotional scenes in the film was a discussion or the two fathers coming to terms with each other in each other's lives and Poe's life. And it was beautifully done, that moment, particularly with... sorry, I've forgotten the duck's name. But it's the duck father. And it's extremely well done from his point of view, because he's the one... Yeah, I won't go into what exactly goes on, because I don't want to spoil the actual what goes on with the scene. But extremely well done, and the emotional level is extremely well handled. Very good. And there's a particular emotional bit at the end as well that I found quite touching, where I won't say what it is, but you'll know when you see it. So yes, it's not quite as emotionally absolutely top notch like Kung Fu Panda 2 was, but it's still in the same fun vein, and still in the same, some great jokes. And let's just go back to, because this is a Jack Black special, as I previously said, and I'm a massive fan of Jack Black, mainly musically, because I do love Tenacious D. But I do think, given the right tools, he is an absolutely brilliant comedic actor. Like with every other comedic actor, he has bad films or films that are just not worth his time and effort, and his talents are wasted. Or he wastes his own talents on those films, in ways. But in the Kung Fu Panda films, they have found the greatest outlet for his comedic style. And it's... I don't know how to describe it. It's energy, isn't it? It's pure energy with Jack Black. You've just got to roll with it. You can see a lot of stuff he's had limbs, I would have thought. I bet there's a ton of stuff that he just doesn't get into the film. They try, but what does get in is wonderful. It's sort of the tone of how he does his comedy. It's great. I'm just making no sense. So in the Kung Fu Panda films, he's used fabulously well his comedic tones, and it is again apparent here in Kung Fu Panda 3. We have obviously returning, like I say, I've mentioned previously, obviously with J.K. Simmons plays the villain in the piece Kai, and he does a decent enough job. Angelina Jolie is always an interesting one I found regarding Tigress in the film, and given what had happened in the second film, when I was seeing there's an interesting relationship going on there with Poe, and it wasn't quite third in this film, which leads me to think that there's at least another film in this series where they could go on to some sort of other angle easily regarding relationships and maybe family and fatherhood, or maybe something like that with Poe. But I want I don't know. Do I want something to? I don't particularly want something to occur with Tigress, but there's something there, I feel, from the previous films that is left unresolved, and I feel I'd like some sort of, not closure, but what's going on? Some great voice work again from likes of David Cross and Seth Rogen and Jackie Chan and Lucy Liu. Seth Rogen gets probably some of the funniest lines, and you always kind of think, because Seth Rogen's a comedian, is he putting some of his own stuff in again regarding Mantis? And there's a brilliant scene where Crane and Mantis are effectively going to scout out Kai and what he's doing, and there's a bit where there's other masters are also about to take him on, and these masters, do I want to spoil the scene? No, I won't spoil the scene, but these masters go in, and it's in a conversation between Mantis and Crane about who's chicken, and there's a master chicken that goes in before them. It's brilliant, it's fabulous. It's wonderfully told, which I would do no justice to. So some great comedic stuff in there again. At no point you bored, you were entertained throughout. And yes, it doesn't quite hit the highs of Kung Fu Panda 2, but this is a series they've took their time over. They've done a very good version. Took their time telling the story and working the world out. It's 5 years since the last film. 5 years. Now, DreamWorks were used to be known for churning out a Shrek film every 2 to 3 years, and they seem to have completely turned around, because though doing that resulted in those films having less quality and just less effect on you as an audience. Whereas the likes of Kung Fu Panda series and the How to Train Your Dragon series, they seem to have mastered the fact that if you actually take your time with films and take the time to write characters well, the audience will be and critically they are absolutely loved. So fabulous! I really did enjoy Kung Fu Panda 3 again. Great music, and the fact that it was partly made in cooperation with Chinese studio is something of interest as well, isn't it? So I found that really enjoyable. I just really found it really enjoyable. So Kung Fu Panda 3 was my theatrically released film of the week. So my classic film of the week was, like I say, it's a Jack Black special, and my special film my film was School of Rock. Because like I said previously, I'm a massive fan of Jack Black musically, and I feel in the Kung Fu Panda series, like I just said previously, and School of Rock, these are the films that best suited Jack Black's abilities as an actor and a comedian. School of Rock is directed by Richard Linklater, who's a director who's done an awful such a variety of films in his filmography. From things like Dazed and Confused, and like Scanner Darkly, and recently Boyhood, and here School of Rock. That's a varied, really he likes to do different things. But here we have Jack Black, who plays a member of a band who gets chucked out of his band because he's too flamboyant and he kind of gets on other people's nerves. He doesn't have a job. He's living in a flat where a friend's girlfriend's trying to make him move out, so he has to get a job, and he effectively takes on. He manages to somehow get a job as a temp teacher in a prep school, and upon realising that lots of the children in his class are actually very musically talented, he thinks, oh, wait a minute, I could form my own band here and win the battle of the bands. Now, that sounds that trope of a story is extremely well explored previously in films. But what makes it work, without a doubt, is Jack Black's energy again. I'm going to talk about Jack Black's energy again, but his comedic energy and his love for the music, and it goes hand in hand. And that sort of then connection with the kids, and the connection with the music and the kids, and how you can see in that character that he's getting back things from. You think this is a character that is growing in the film. For an actor who was very much a big kid in a sense, this was the perfect film for him. Musically, I just find it really entertaining. I think it's really well written. It may not be absolutely on the top level of comedic films, or even sort of comedic. Well, it's not really comedic drama. In some sense, it is, but not out and out. It's not quite the top level, probably for some people, but I just love Jack Black's energy, and I do love that relationship with the music and the relationship with the kids and the music. And I'm not going to lie, I watched this last night, and I have not cried at School of Rock before. I've watched it probably 3 times before last night. I've never cried at it. And I watched it last night, and the final scene at the concert, at the end, I cried. And I don't know what it was. I don't know, maybe... I honestly am not sure what it was, but there was something there. Maybe I'm not... Maybe it's just me getting older. I don't know. Getting more sentimental in my old age. But the scene with the kids in the band at the end, and with the parents in the audience, and the audience just absolutely appreciating what's going on, and I kind of lost it. Is the honest answer. So it packs an emotional punch for me now. I didn't realise it did as much before, because I did feel certain senses of it, but not to that effect. And it got me. It completely got me. Great performances by the kids, and some decent support by Joe Cusack, who's the principal in the film. interesting. Sarah Silverman in the early 2000s was getting quite bitchy roles, wasn't she? Which is a shame because she's quite a good comedic actress. So she's kind of wasted in the film. And Mike White plays his sort of friend in the film, who's sort of who is being forced to sort of try and make him move out and so on and so forth. Who actually wrote the film as well. So that's interesting. And yeah, I just think it's an absolutely rollicking good film. It's a rollicking good film. That's a good word for you. It's a rocking good film. It's probably more apt, isn't it? And I love the credit scene, end credit scene, and I just think it's a great family film. And there's nothing to not enjoy about this film. It's pure joy, pure enthusiasm, pure love for music, pure joy between music relationship and the kids and Black's character. Fabulous. I really do enjoy School of Rock. I'm probably just going to say. In other words, the whole of this review was, I really like Jack Black. So, yeah, there we go. This was my Jack Black special, which featured School of Rock as my classic film, and Kung Fu Panda 3, the latest entry in the Kung Fu Panda series, which I extremely enjoyed yet again, as my theatrically released film. I thank you for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed what I've had to say. If you have, please do subscribe to me, and I hope to see and speak to you again sometime. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.